This is Change Your Mindset Podcast, the podcast that helps change your life by helping change the mindset of the 99% into the 1% mindset. Here's your host, Adrian Gomez.
Welcome to Change Your Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Adrian Gomez. Professional athletes, celebrities make six figures easily to millions and millions of dollars. Most majority of the time, they end up going broke, which is really fascinating because if you have millions of dollars, how do you go broke? But even when they do go broke, we can learn a lot from them, what we should exactly not do. Even if you have a little bit of money or a lot of money, things you shouldn't do. Most people, when they have money and when they start increasing the wealth or the money, they all make the same mistake. So they make more money, and now that they made more money, they end up spending more money, which puts them in the same situation as before, or even worse. A lot of people don't understand to live below your needs, not buy expensive cars, houses, watches, clothes, name brands that cost hundreds of thousands, some even millions of dollars. But people want to keep up with the Joneses. People want to show off to their friends so that they have money, that they made it in life. And at the end of the day, such as these professional athletes, they end up going broke and file for bankruptcy. It's very common. And the average person does this same exact thing. But the main reason why most of these celebrities and professional athletes go broke is because they're not financially educated. They don't know about money. They know that money, you can buy things and spend it. And that's why majority of the time they buy liabilities that cost money and they'll make you money instead of buying assets that produce you money, which ends up making you more money. But they're not financially educated. And the average person is not financially educated, which is not your fault. The school systems don't teach you about money. They teach you about things that are not even relevant to life. But at the end of the day, schools teach you to be employees. So it's not your fault unless you have family, parents, friends, or you educate yourself about money. But most of these athletes don't do that. They spend on houses, cars, etc. And they blow all their money. Even though they have millions, they still file for bankruptcy. And it's a very common issue. And this just shows you, even though you have millions and millions of dollars, does not mean you will keep those millions and millions of dollars. You will not stay rich, and you will not live the same life that you currently are. And when you do have money, there is always bad influences around you that will either make you spend more money or you try and impress other people. And there goes your wealth. I'm going to read an article by Investopedia. And the title is Why Athletes Go Broke and What the Rest of Us Can Learn from Them. The article is by Tim Parker and was updated February 27, 2023. The article starts off, pro athletes often come under fire for making too much money, yet a surprising number are far from the top of their game when it comes to managing their wealth. A 2009 Sports Illustrated report estimated that 78% of National Football League (NFL) players file for bankruptcy or are experiencing financial stress only 2 years after retiring. And 60% of National Basketball Association (NBA) players suffer the same fate after 5 years of retirement. Why have so many pro athletes who were once wealthy later found themselves broke? More importantly, what can we learn from their financial stumbles? Key takeaways. Despite the fortunes that top pro athletes earn, a surprising number end up going broke not long after they retire, and sometimes before then. Pro athletes have relatively short careers, and their earnings must sustain them over a lifetime. Overspending, as well as lack of financial knowledge and planning, are how some of the most iconic athletes have ended up broke. Famous athletes who went broke. Here are just a few of the high-profile pro athletes who have gone broke. Former heavyweight boxing champion Mike Tyson, who was once worth up to about $400 million, spent most of that fortune and declared bankruptcy in 2003, even before he retired. Olympic and world championship figure skater Dorothy Hamill turned pro soon after her 1976 gold medal win. She earned millions skating in professional shows like the Ice Capades and eventually purchased the show. Yet by 1996, America's sweetheart had declared bankruptcy. Basketball superstar Allen Iverson earned over $150 million in the NBA, and even more through sponsorship deals. But in 2012, Iverson's financial straits were revealed when a judge ordered him to pay a jeweler $860,000, and he said he couldn't pay. Reasons athletes go broke. Pro athletes who get into financial trouble have a few things in common when it comes to how they lost their fortunes, including having a small earnings window, a lack of financial knowledge, and overspending. A small earnings window. Pro athletes face the challenge of a very short career. Though more traditional careers may allow a person to work for 30 to 50 years, a professional athlete will work only a fraction of that time, often fewer than 5 years. This leaves the retired athlete with the job of managing what they have earned to last for the rest of their life. Two of the authors of a 2015 National Bureau of Economic Research study on the topic, Anna Marie Lusardi and Colin Camerer, suggest that ideally there should be a compensation system that offers players the option of a series of payments over a long period of time, providing a stable standard of living. Some players wisely set up their own systems to manage their earnings spike over the long term. Take Detroit Lions player Glover Quinn, who earned some $33 million over his 10-year NFL career. He decided early on that he and his family would live on 30% of his take-home pay, saving and investing the remaining 70%, mainly in well-known publicly traded companies. Most of us don't have such a small earnings window or large paycheck, but the lesson to learn here is that our income is never guaranteed. The coronavirus pandemic unexpectedly disrupted many financial lives, and a 2018 data analysis by ProPublica and the Urban Institute found that more than half of older U.S. workers were pushed out of previously stable, long-time jobs before they chose to retire. Setting aside an emergency fund and planning for the unexpected is always a wise idea. Lack of financial knowledge. Young athletes who are drafted onto a pro team are suddenly wealthy at a very young age. It's a rare 20-something who's prepared for that. They often lack the financial knowledge to manage the large sums of money they're earning, Sports Illustrated noted, and they're mostly focused on getting on the field and scoring points. Contrast that with someone who builds a career of their own business over decades. They have time to learn about managing that money and often a network of long-standing, trusted, and knowledgeable connections to help them. Tyson and Iverson are among many athletes who didn't plan ahead and budget for the funds they would need later in life, but instead lived a lifestyle based on their peak earnings. Iverson is now waiting to cash in on a $32 million rainy day trust fund sponsored by Reebok, as part of a previous deal he made with the brand, but he can't access the trust fund until 2030. Comprehensive money management training programs for players could offer them information that goes beyond simple recommendations for investment or rookie camp workshops, according to Lusardi and Camerer. Their suggestions for players: figure out how far in the future their money can last and how to build a budget that allows them to achieve their objectives, are good advice for anyone though. Regardless of your net worth, you have to play an active role in the management of your financial affairs. Even the best money managers won't care about your money as much as you do, and for that reason, you have to be the final and most important decision maker. And those decisions have to be grounded in financial knowledge. If you know very little about managing money, it's never too late to change that. Financial literacy and money management education can help you understand everything from the rewards of compound interest to how financial markets work and develop healthy financial habits. Overspending. Many of the athletes who find themselves broke are big spenders. They make the mistake of matching their spending level to what their peak earnings allow, or beyond. When those earnings end, the payments due on houses, cars, and a lavish lifestyle continue, and the athletes fall off a financial cliff. Good long term money management is contrary to the accumulation of stuff. Billionaire Warren Buffett may be as famous for his modest lifestyle as he is for his wealth. NFL player Glover Quinn drove the same SUV for years. Quote, I never had a Bentley. I never had a Maserati. End quote. He told NBS Sports. Quote, my wife and I lived well. We just didn't live extravagantly. End quote. Athletes spending isn't all on material luxuries, of course. It's also easy for players to become cash machines for family and friends who need support or are hopeful entrepreneurs. Quote, there's a pressure that comes with being the African American success story, end quote. Wealth manager Humble Lukanga told the Washington Post. Lukanga manages some $500 million for mostly black clients in sports and entertainment. Quote, you are some community's pride and joy. That community has protected you. That community has given you free haircuts when you couldn't afford it. That community has sponsored your football teams, your basketball team. End quote. Even a multi-million-dollar salary only goes so far, though. Armed with sound financial knowledge, young athletes can budget for being generous with their community without putting themselves at financial risk. Regardless of your income level, it's smart to live a lifestyle that doesn't stretch your budget. Not only will it set you up for financial freedom, but it's far easier to sleep at night when you're not worried about the next paycheck. Are these famous athletes who are role models for how not to be broke? Yes. There are great examples of iconic athletes who've achieved enduring financial success. The richest athlete of all time is basketball superstar Michael Jordan, whose $2.1 billion fortune was built from his NBA income, sponsorships, and investments, including a majority stake in the Charlotte Hornets. NBA player Earvin Magic Johnson formed Magic Johnson Enterprises years before he stopped playing and has built it into a $1 billion conglomerate. Serena Williams won more tennis Grand Slams, 23, than any other player and 4 Olympic gold medals. Her career prize money made her the second highest paid woman athlete, and she's put that and income from almost 20 corporate sponsorships to good use in diverse business interests and her own venture capital firm, Serena Ventures. How can pro athletes avoid going broke? Financial literacy education before any contracts are signed. Ongoing money management training beyond rookie camp workshops and compensation structures that pay out over time would be helpful. The key for young pros is to manage a short spike of high income so that it can last a lifetime. Why is retirement planning so challenging for pro athletes? Compared to most people, pro athletes have very short careers. And if their contract isn't renewed or they get injured, their careers can unexpectedly be cut even shorter. In addition, pro athletes tend to be intensely focused on their sport, sometimes to the exclusion of other important matters, such as their personal finances. The bottom line, take a cue from the many athletes who have found themselves broke later in life, spending so much today that you can't save anything or invest for a secure future is a losing proposition regardless of how much money you make. And that's the end of the article. There's something to learn here. You can make millions of dollars and still be bankrupt because you don't know how money works. you don't know about financial education. You can't be spending money like there's no tomorrow and not prepare for the future. When you have money, you have to do three things. One, obviously, spend money because you need to buy essentials and you can spoil yourself here and there. Two, save money just in case on a rainy day or an emergency. And three, invest your money to make you more money in the long term, for you'll be financially safe. Or if you want to invest more money, be financially free in the future. And that's why I always have affiliate links of Fundrise where you can invest in private real estate through the long term, investing little by little, however much you want, weekly or monthly. Same thing like M1 Finance. You can invest in the stock market and create a Roth IRA or an IRA, whatever you want. Put money into it little by little, every week or month. When you're retired, you'll have six figures. Obviously, depending how much money you put in, or possibly millions. But like I always say, you need to invest early and not later, because compound interest works when you start early, not when you start late. But most of these people, NBA players, NFL players, don't invest their money. They don't put money aside, they blow it all. And that's why they end up broke and filing for bankruptcy. There's something to learn here. Don't blow your money, no matter how much money you make. You might be making a little bit or a lot. Don't be blowing it all at once. Be smart on how you use your money. Because at the end of the day, if you want to work the rest of your life and have a 9 to 5, work Monday through Friday, and work till you retire, then keep spending money. But if you want to be financially free and retire early, spend less money and invest more. It's up to you, your choice. Now, I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm not telling you what to do with your money. I would never tell you what to do with it. It's your money. You do it as you please. At the end of the day, it's your life and it's your money. So whatever you do with it, that's going to be on you. Just remember, when you want to retire or when you're at the end of your life, you cannot keep working. Your body will start slowing down. You will not be able to do the same things that you currently do at the moment. And that's why NBA players have short careers. Because they're young, they're very athletic, they can do a lot. But they can't do that forever. Their body ages and things change. And that's the truth. I hope you learn from these professional athletes' mistakes. And obviously you might not be making millions, but you can do the same thing and not make the same exact mistakes, no matter how much you make. That's going to be it for this podcast episode. As always, I appreciate you guys for listening. Hopefully you got some value out of this podcast episode. As always, thank you, Patron member Blade262, for being a Patreon member. If you would like to support the podcast, you can do that by being a Patreon member. And if you want me to be your accountability coach, you can do that as well by being a Patreon member. As always, please share the podcast because you can help grow the podcast more than I can ever by myself. Please like it if you found it very informing and helpful. And please subscribe to keep up to date with new episodes. I wish you the best. I wish you success. Be smart and take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Change Your Mindset podcast. Be sure to tune in every week for a new episode. As always, change your mindset to change your life.